This is a suppressor, and today we're going to talk about why you should have one for your precision rifle, as well as how easy the process is to get one of your own in 2025. What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Phillip Velayo, and I'm a former Marine Scout Sniper turned professional competitive shooter, instructor, and long-range creative. I love everything about precision rifle shooting and teaching people the art and craft of shooting very, very small targets from long distances. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about suppressors for your precision rifle. Now, full disclosure, I've partnered with Silencer Shop to bring you a series of educational videos of benefits of using a suppressor, and again, the process that Silencer Shop has made for us to easily own our own suppressor in the case that you do want one after watching this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the benefits of running a suppressor. So the very first thing is the obvious, which is hearing conservation. And if there's one thing that I cannot stress enough, it is hearing conservation. Now, I've been fortunate enough to run a precision rifle for a little over 16 years now, starting with my career as a young sniper back in 2008. One thing that I remember is when we went from the M40A3 series sniper rifle, which didn't have a suppressor, to the M40A5, it was just a night and day difference with regard to not only hearing conservation, but just training, just being able to now shoot with a little bit more intention or going to the range and not have to worry about increased recoil or just the loudness that obviously gets produced from a precision rifle or a sniper rifle. It just made training a little bit more conducive. So fast forward to 2015, when I was a sniper school instructor, I was just getting into competitive shooting. A big thing there, especially for the precision rifle community, was to use a muzzle brake to help, again, mitigate recoil, because the important thing about shooting precision, especially long range, is the shooter's ability to see exactly where their bullets are going downrange. This helps with a couple things. Number one, it helps them figure out what the wind is doing, because wind is always fluid and it's always changing, and it's hard because we can't see it. We usually rely on what our bullets are doing to kind of what we call reverse engineer the wind. And so what's important as a precision shooter is that I'm able to see exactly where that bullet goes downrange to help me gather a little bit more information of the conditions. And so having a suppressor helps with that recoil reduction, allowing me to see it. So that's another benefit, is recoil reduction compared to, let's say, just a bare muzzle. Now, I don't want to dive into the differences between a muzzle brake and a suppressor, but yes, there is a slight difference in recoil compared to a muzzle brake versus suppressor. But in terms of, let's say, training for long periods of time, like for me as a content creator and a professional competitor, when I go to the range to create content or training, I'm shooting anywhere between 60 to 80 rounds a session. And with a muzzle brake, after the end of those shooting days, I know I just feel smoke checked because of the amount of gases that were coming back and just, messing up my OODA loop. Even for a 2-day national level match, when you're shooting anywhere between 100 to 120 rounds a day, I would definitely feel the aftermath of that, having dinner with friends at the end of the evening, catching up, and just feeling absolutely checked out. Whereas recently, over the last year and a half, 2 years, I've gravitated to shooting suppressed only with my competition rifles, and I've just seen a immediate benefit to not only my training regimen, but also just at the end of a day of shooting, not having to worry about having a migraine or a headache. And I feel that has to do everything with shooting a suppressed rifle. And another thing of being able to, again, go to the range, let's say if I do have a private mentorship student and I throw them on one of my guns, I'm able to talk to them and coach them through their processes, and they don't have, they're not bogged down with any type of ears on. I'm not bogged down with ears on. And again, I just have nice streamlined communication with my shooter. And the last thing that I'll say, because it's relevant to me, is working in a team environment. I often shoot team matches with some of my friends, the Animal Hunter Teams division. I've partnered up with Ryan D'Agostino, who you've seen on my channel, as well as my really good friend, John Bumpus, and we both shot those Suppress, and it's easy to communicate with them during the courts of fire because we were running Suppress and didn't have to worry about having ears on, and we're not yelling at each other. So that is obviously another benefit of running Suppressed in the case that you find yourself wanting to run team formatted style events. Now, another benefit of having a suppressor, especially from a professional instructor standpoint, is when I'm doing live fire demonstrations with my students, it's nice to be able to just grab my rifle and actually demonstrate what I want them to do with that rifle, or maybe demonstrate a technique. So it's nice to be able to do that online without having them to worry or scatter about grabbing ears, because usually I'll teach a period of instruction, and immediately following that instruction I'll demonstrate and show them exactly how I want them to execute a specific course of fire or a technique. And again, it's just nice to be able to shoot that rifle without my students needing to worry about putting ears on, especially with the cans that I'm running. These are Thunder Beast cans, which I'll talk about here shortly. Now, another benefit of having a suppressor, especially with a precision rifle, is the inherent accuracy or precision gain that you get with your rifle. Now, this is also ensuring that that suppressor that you get is made for precision, just like these Thunder Beast cans here. Now, not to nerd out into internal ballistics or barrel harmonics, but essentially what I'm doing is I'm essentially tuning that rifle for a little bit better or more consistent barrel whip. And essentially what I've seen with adding a suppressor to my rifle is just a slightly smaller group sizes out of my precision rifle systems. Again, making sure that that suppressor is also made for precision type systems. Now, Thunder Beast, I've been running these cans for a little over 8 years now, between my professional work as well as just my competition stuff. And they're just been a gold standard in the precision rifle community for their repeatability of their cans. And again, what I've noticed is by putting on a suppressor on any of my precision rifles, I've noticed a slight decrease in group sizes with my rifle, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're putting kind of like a tuner at the end of your muzzle. Now, a couple things I also want to talk about with regard to running a suppressor on your precision rifle is, number one, a difference maybe in point of aim, point of impact shift. When you shoot your rifle, let's say with a muzzle brake or a bare muzzle, and again, you put a suppressor on your rifle, you're gonna see a point of aim, point of impact shift with your zero. So again, let's say you watch this video and you decide to get one, I highly recommend before you go out hunting or whatever the case might be, that you double check your zero to make sure that you re-zero your rifle now with that muzzle device, first and foremost. Number two is also double check your muzzle velocity. From my experience with the different suppressors that I've run, in the Marine Corps, as well as being an instructor or just seeing other cans as an instructor, there is sometimes a slight what we call suppressor push. I'm not sure the actual correct terminology for that, but it's essentially a increase in muzzle velocity due to that specific suppressor. Now, we did this a lot in the Marine Corps with our M48 series sniper rifles. I would have my snipers essentially double check their offset as well as their velocities with and without the suppressor. In the case operationally, the suppressor went down, whatever the case might be, they were still operational, or my snipers were still operational, even with a sniper rifle with just the muzzle brake attachment at the end of that muzzle. But again, we would see a muzzle velocity difference in our dope difference between a suppressed rifle and non-suppressed rifle. So that is also something that you want to check. Now, there's definitely a bunch of other videos and stuff like that show in great detail the actual movement patterns of precision rifles depending on the actual the muzzle device that's on it. I'm just speaking from experience here. And again, one of the things that those tests cannot do is test the person's ability to reset in flight. When I mean by that, or their dwell time, because essentially as I get hit with recoil, what happens is my brain shuts down for that split second, especially if there's a bunch of gases coming at me. And especially with precision rifle, why understanding our dwell time is so important is my ability to process information downrange, especially when there's wind. I need to be able to see exactly where that bullet goes. And if I miss because of wind, I want to be able to reverse engineer why I missed off to the left or to the right to hopefully make a better educated wind call, as well as learn myself of what the wind conditions are doing. So processing speed is super important when it comes to that aspect for precision rifle shooting. So a little bit deeper of a rabbit hole than I wanted to go down, but there we are. So now moving into the process of owning a suppressor. Again, in 2025, the process is made so much simpler than before. And I'm gonna talk about how Silencer Shop has made this process super simple. The very first thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna head to the Silencer Shop website and create a profile. This is as simple as putting in your name, your email, as well as creating a password. So once you build a profile, you're gonna enter all the information that they ask of you, very similar to going to any gun store and filling out a form 4473. It's pretty much the same information. Once you fill out your information, you're also gonna select the suppressor that you want to obtain from Silencer Shop. In this case, I went with the Thunder Beast suppressors. Don't forget to include a tax stamp with your purchase order when you do that. Once you do that, in order to finish your profile, you're gonna need two more things. Number one, a passport photo, which again, Silencer Shop has made this process easy. All you gotta do is download their app. And then when you download their app, you sync it to your profile by signing in to your phone with that profile, and then just using your camera and making sure that you are abiding by the passport photo guidelines, which is super simple, having a nice white backdrop and a nice little polo, making sure you're not wearing any hats or any kind of shades, that you have a good, nice, clean photo. And then essentially you can take a selfie. I did all this here in the comfort of my own home. So step two is going to your local dealer that has a Silencer Shop kiosk in order to get your fingerprints and also tie them to your profile that you made for Silencer Shop. Again, they made this process super simple because once you get to the kiosk, they'll ask you to scan a QR code, which again links it to your profile, and then it takes about 5 to 7 minutes to get your fingerprints read and automatically uploaded to your profile. So once that happens and all that's good, then step three is that you're gonna get a series of emails from Silencer Shop that is essentially all of your paperwork with regard to your signatures that are needed to fill out the form. This is a super simple DocuSign document that they send. Again, they made this process so simple that you can sign it on your phone. You're probably watching this on your phone, so again, just being able to do that from your phone is super simple and easy. So once you do that, step 4 is actually pretty simple. You now need to create an ATF eForm account, making sure that you're using the same exact name that you used for the Silencer Shop profile, now creating that and linking it to your ATF eForm. And that's one thing that you don't have to do. You don't have to link them. That is done pretty much automatically once you do step 5, which is essentially the certification process. Now the certification process is just you and your dealer making sure that all of the forms that you guys have are good to go, that they're signed, and then now submitting them together to the ATF. Now, because I live in such a small town, I was able to work with my dealer and I was able to get this certification process actually done in my kitchen. But I highly recommend that you just talk to your dealer to figure out if they want you to come into the shop to do that process. But for me, I was able to do it at home, and the certification process was super simple. And after that, it's pretty much a waiting game. And honestly, it took no more than 10 days from submitting my certification to where I got these 4 cans approved from the ATF. Comparatively to these cans here, it took me 12 months to get these with the traditional handwritten forms that I filled in through Thunder Beast a couple years ago. So again, turnaround times are just remarkably fast, and it's all over the community about how fast the turnaround times are for suppressors. So shout out to Silencer Shop for making that process super easy. Now I'm gonna talk about the suppressors real quick that I run. I run Thunder Beast suppressors. Thunder Beast is known in the precision rifle community. They support the Precision Rifle series and Enroll Hunter, in which series that I am actively involved in as a competitive shooter. So I'm either grabbing their certificates or seeing them. And over the past couple years, I built a really great relationship with them. These are their cans. This is the Ultra 7. I've got two models. I've got a 30 cal model and a 264 model. This is honestly the Ultra 7. The first Ultra 7 was what sold me on Thunder Beast when I first started using them. And eventually I wanted to have my own. So I typically use this for a lot of my military law enforcement 308 rifles for demonstration and for work. Moving to their newer Dominus. This is a great can. This has been my go-to can for the last 2 years now as my competition suppressor, ever since I gravitated from a muzzle brake to a suppressor. Great can that, again, has great repeatability as well as sound suppression, noise reduction. And this is the Ultra 5. This is a great little can for all my, that I use for all my hunting rifles, especially my 6.5 PRC. Still got a little bite to it, but again, for hunting scenarios, when I'm only taking one shot, this is a really great can. It's nice, small, compact, and light for my lightweight hunting rigs. Now these cans here on my left, your right, these are Thunder Beast's new cans called the Magnus line. This is the Magnus S with the RR, which stands for Race Ready, which is pretty much a muzzle brake attachment at the end of the suppressor. And honestly, I'm super excited to run these on my competition rifles because of, number one, the performance that I've already seen watching some other competitors run them. But more importantly, just to be able to see how well they're able to mitigate recoil a little better than your traditional can, while also, again, preserving that noise reduction. And the last but not least, I'm excited to really try out this can. This is their 338 Ultra can that I'm excited to put on a lot of my extended long range rifles or my ELR guns, like my 7 PRC, 300 mag, 300 PRC, and stuff like that. So I will definitely be doing some content revolving around some of the benefits and running these cans in different scenarios through either competition, hunting, or whatever their situation I might find myself in using these cans. So guys, that pretty much wraps up the video. Hopefully I've done a great job of explaining why you should own a suppressor for your precision rifle. If you have any questions with regard to owning one, please leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to help clarify some things. And yeah, I appreciate Silencer Shop collaborating with me for this series. I'm excited for video 2, where I show you the difference of running a precision rifle with a bare muzzle compared to a suppressor. I'm gonna throw my trigger cam so you can see the differences, as well as some of the accuracy benefits of having a suppressor compared to, again, a standard just bare muzzle. Also, while you're here, cruise around, especially if you're new. I've got a bunch of information with regard to getting into long range shooting, especially if you're on a budget. Check out my Tika vlog. If you're wanting to get into competition, I've got some competition vlogs, like shooting either the PRS, standing for Precision Rifle Series, or the NRL Hunter. And if you struggle with, maybe prone shooting or finding comfort or recoil management in the prone, I've got a couple educational videos with regard to precision rifle mechanics. And if you into podcasts, I've got a podcast, and I've got this thing where I take this whiteboard and I review either myself or different shooters and their processes, and I call that Whiteboard Wednesday. So hopefully to see you cruise around. And if not, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, remember, keep your face on the gun.